game. We have Pittsburgh Knights versus Mamba Mode Gaming for the round of 16 in this UMG top 16. And quite honestly, both of these teams, you know, fighting for their life, fighting to actually go ahead and stay alive, make it to the closed qualifier. Only 6 teams out of this qualifier are actually going to go ahead and make it to that second step towards the first strike. So it is far, far from a done deal for either one of these two teams. On paper, you know, Pittsburgh Knights, they had some pretty impressive results. In particular, yesterday, XXiF dropping 44, I believe, in a game against payen, I want to believe it was, payen, that they ended up beating 2-1. So, I mean, the results have been shaky, but the individual performance, I think, is most definitely there. As for the side of MMG, you know, it's a core that has been around for a while. They have had middling results in some cases. You know, I'm not going to exactly say that they have been, you know, top of the world or anything of the sort, but they have definitely been impressive to me in a number of ways. Obviously, since losing We Did, they maybe haven't exactly had glittering headlines or anything of the sort, but really, things have only gotten better and better with time. Yesterday, I believe they beat Prospects 2-1. That's a team that actually has some really heavy-hitting players, such as Reality, Melio, Mile, and Josh RT. I think Nismo's on there as well, so that should complete everybody. And then also a win over Depth Esports, which has Shane, who is most notably an MDL player in CSGO. Didn't exactly have the best series for him, but really, you can kind of go ahead and chalk that up to MMG being that sort of hidden factor. Definitely have a lot to prove and a lot to impress me on as we head into this first best of 3, first map of this best of 3 as well. My hopes stay high that maybe I can go ahead and prove to be impressed. I don't know what to expect, since I am going to have to be doing casting and observing as well. Maybe I'm not going to be able to provide the most insightful of, you know, analysis or anything. But right now, I can tell you right off the bat, I noticed that there are 3 players kind of stacked over towards mid, ready to make some contact. I noticed that probably Harmon is going to be tossing down a recon arrow. I could see that going towards top mid, and then ScrewFace behind it will be trying to eke for a frag really quickly. Also, please feel free to tell me how the audio levels are. I didn't have the time to do any audio tests or anything, so I'm really kind of going into this one completely blind. So it's going to be a journey for us to walk through together. And right now, the only walking I'm seeing is Mamba Mode Gaming through mid. Nothing spotted early. And we have a bit of an interesting situation on our hands here because a full rotation from Pittsburgh Knights will actually be over towards B. There does remain XXiF, that hidden factor for Pittsburgh Knights, who remains a thorn in the side, continuing from yesterday at least, being a thorn in the side for their opponents. But it's only 1 kill for now. We enter that ever-present mid-round lull, and MMG with their reply has been relatively quiet. They're going to go ahead, retreat over towards Boathouse. Payen is going to have to hold the line by himself, at least find 1 kill if he so possibly can. But his gun is going to be given up. He gets the dink, but XXiF finds the kill, and that really is what matters at the end of it. Sure, XXiF now is going to be hurting pretty badly, bleeding internally and taking some important hits, but he still stays alive, and in a 5-on-3, MMG really have to fight back, and it's going to be on them to actually close the distance. That drone in from Harmon, spotting 2 players. I'm going to try to go for the spam through, but it's Zeck to find the finishing blow. I think that spam actually did do a little bit of damage. All in all, though, this is good stuff from Pittsburgh Knights. They're playing off of each other very well in this post-plan, and it's going to go ahead and do the job to finish it up. XXiF actually on 4 kills, searches for the ace, and won't be able to get it. It really, I mean, a pistol round ace like that with how slow that this has been, I can tell you that it's going to be slow in a couple of ways. But they get the results. That's important, isn't it? Pittsburgh Knights, taking round number 1 in a pretty clean fashion just because of XXiF alone. Maybe clean isn't exactly the correct word for it, considering that, you know, they took down 3 guns at the end of it. That's still pretty decent from MMG. Not going to be quite on the, you know, what's the phrase that I'm looking for here? Maybe right on the brink of being able to actually force themselves up with a stinger or 2, but they'll stick with the pistols. I'm being told that the game audio is low. Keep in mind that there is a 90-second delay, so I'm going to go ahead and try to fix that. I'm going to go ahead and up it to 8 decibels. There we are. Again, we're working through this together. It's going to be a fun little adventure for you and me, and well, I'm sure technical issues are going to be something that we are very familiar with. But luckily, no action has actually come through as the round begins. zeck finding yet another opening kill. Gets that ace that unfortunately he was unable to finish off from last time. But all in all, MMG haven't been able to find anything early to call theirs. A dink out onto zeck actually goes ahead and does them a little bit of good, but is that a kill that he can convert reliably? No, Harmon doesn't want to dedicate. Probably a smarter move. It's going to be incredibly scary to go ahead and actually force yourself onto that weapon, especially when it's only a ghost that you're going to be able to muster up. zeck, he's not even going to be able to give that one up. That is just straight up perfect. Everything that the Pittsburgh Knights could ever hope for has come to fruition on a round that, let's be honest here, it didn't seem very good for MMG from the get-go. Really not getting anything of note.
One enemy remaining.
Clean finish though, and a solid execution will make it a flawless one. Knights continue their trend of winning. Again from yesterday when they had that very close series versus Time In. And zeck, once again grazing the top of the scoreboard. 6 kills and only a single death to his name. Has been very, very impressive just in this short stint in the UMG qualifier so far. But enough praise for Knights, enough praise for zeck being able to find kills on pistol and an anti-eco. This is where the real challenge begins, and really, quite honestly, MMG can start to impress a little bit more. Taking a look at the setup that they're trying to bring over towards mid is going to be interesting to me. Or if they will at all. Interesting one. Completely walking on through. They're banking on the fact that they won't actually push them out over at mid. This is interesting. I could see it working out for them in the end of it. MMG not going to find any incredibly notable results, so they can go ahead and bank on it being over at A. But now they actually need to win the straight-up gunfights here. And this is actually a really comfortable range that the Spectres are going to be in. So right now, we're kind of on the even territory in this very awkward skirmish. A 5v5 retake. Shock Dart is actually going to be the first thing to find a kill. And what a beautiful way to start things out here for MMG on their first gun round. Still, you have to remember, MMG, if they win this one, Knights still have enough to buy, so they need to try to make this as clean as possible. And my God, is it looking clean. 4 kills to the 1 of ZK. And, well, Frosty won't be able to get anything more from it. Clean? Well, not anti-eco, perhaps, but an anti-bonus maybe is the correct phrase for it. That first rifle round, not panning out exactly in the long term, despite it being a 5v5 retake, a 5v5 post-plant that they're aiming to have. Great stuff to begin. And Pittsburgh Knights, I guess drop 1 round, but at least they'll be able to buy up in this next. I mean, thing is, the reason why I'm so hesitant on actually saying it is because, you know, sure they have it, but it's not going to be an operator or anything, and I'm wondering if operator is actually going to be a really big factor that we see later on into this half, because I've noticed that a lot of teams recently have felt a lot more comfortable on their operator usage on Ascent in particular. Doesn't seem to exactly be all too notable for either team at the moment. XXiF does force one up. That's exactly why he had the ghost in that second round. But no early kill found with it.
Here.
MMG, meanwhile, pushing up vital arteries of the map. ScrewFace has actually gotten into the T-spawn uncontested, and this could be really huge if he's given the time and space to work with, but we're not going to try to dwell on that for too much. It's going to be a good while before he comes online. A B split would be absolutely perfect for him to completely pincer off and destroy the defense. You can tell, and I think it's incredible, that MMG have actually rotated all the remaining defenders over towards A to really bank on this being a nice A execute. And since there's going to be so many people ready for the challenge, you know, Knights, they don't have to budge or set up whatsoever. ScrewFace still lurks in the T-spawn, and this is a completely unknown factor. It's really scary, though, because there is no viable getaway option for ScrewFace here unless he like really dashes out, makes a forward leap towards it. And so Knights, knowing that they don't have B control anymore, will have to bring it through mid over towards the site. Action has yet to commence, but I'm pretty sure it will right on cue. zeck, not quite spotting the body of that Phoenix, will go ahead and allow first contact to belong to Sova and his Cypher. Maybe it's Jett and the Omen, excuse me, that find first kills. So, I mean, hey, pleasant enough stuff. Gets the job done at the very least, but Knights are actually meeting a lot of contention. They get the spike down. Very weird split, all things considered. I mean, it feels like they aren't 100% on the same page of what they wanted to pull off, so it does seem like a little bit of a weird skirmish, but that was a decent mid-round call for the Pittsburgh Knights to bring it through mid because they realized that B control is completely rescinded and that the... Excuse me, I need to go ahead and show this one off. That the potential of a flank through CT spawn was there. Look at this. Look at this one, dude. So, ScrewFace before this match chugged a lot of G Fuel, and apparently that's causing a couple of issues. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing a tactical pause or something like that. That is unique. I've never seen that one before. It looks like actually it's not going to be a tactical pause, so we're fine. Weird round and really weird situation we've had overall, but 2-2 will be our scoreline. We can go ahead and collect ourselves. MMG have kept it very competitive in the early days on Ascent. But we've seen a lot of slow play from Pittsburgh Knights. I'm wondering if this is going to be a call for them to try to switch up the pace, extend maybe more for map control if they insist on playing slow. Something similar to that. They don't necessarily have to, go all in and play aggressive at every part of the map, but, make it so a vital artery like what ScrewFace almost had going for them last time, make it so it's not going to be a recurring trend. The money is low for the Pittsburgh Knights. They only have that single Phantom, and yet, despite that, the Phantom won't be able to find any kills whatsoever. Nothing all too exciting so far. Pittsburgh Knights, while they do fight back with, again, that sole Phantom that they have, Ronaldo is really, really hurting. There are some wounds that need to be patched up on that Knights member, but he's going to be alone, solo pushing up Catwalk. And on the receiving end of things, being very eager MMG side.
30 seconds left.
Past the 30-second mark here, Knights once again play this one slow. It's awkward. I mean, really, this is kind of how you have to play it sometimes when you have no idea where MMG exactly want to go ahead and keep their B players or their A players. I mean, really keep any of their players, but in particular over towards B, I feel like they've been even more conscientious.
10 seconds left.
Towards A, they eventually decide to burst up through, and so we will be able to get that spike down with barely any time remaining. I mean, for real, Knights are just playing against the clock. This is not something that can continue. Like, they didn't give themselves any room to spare getting that spike down. It's going to be going the distance the entire way.
Right here.
Well, I mean, MMG, if the Knights keep up this sort of pace, it's going to be something they're able to deal with fine. Knights may be moving a little bit too slow for their own good. Once again have rifles, guns in their hands after some relatively lukewarm results on that last pistol. 2 kills found, I believe, was the only notable mention. But now they actually can fight back evenly. ScrewFace with that operator that has been stolen from ZXiF. Maybe allow a bit of a chance for MMG. Go ahead and find the first blood yet again. I wouldn't say it's necessarily been their bread and butter, but aggression at mid most certainly has. They have sometimes straight up just ran out over towards tiles or something of the sort. Catwalk is going to be the area and the artery that they decide to push this time around, however. On the other side of the map, it will be Knights, Frosty ZK, excuse me, leading it in a bit spooky what we have here. Chase can easily leer off and just kind of let the site belong to them. A smoke on through plus a couple of flashes. Chase cannot overstay his welcome here, and if he does, Knights are going to be easily watching for that. The kill goes away of Ronaldo, a trade out from Zeck, and we still find ourselves on even territory here. Knights not forcing the bomb down makes this another very scary late round scenario, and Zeck is trying to go ahead and drag it back into his team's favor. Dancing around the smoke right now, Ronaldo holds all the pieces to the puzzle for the Pittsburgh Knights, and he has done a wonderful job at keeping the dream alive. Another post plant found for Pittsburgh Knights. This time, It doesn't quite favor them anymore because ScrewFace was able to find the kill, use those knives. Ronaldo will try to respond by using maybe a rolling thunder if he's given the opportunity, if he's given the chance, but his position's been given away, capitalized upon, and he has been finished. XXiF just kind of baiting, waiting for his teammate to fall. That's the only move he could realistically make at that point. And so, not necessarily a bad bait or anything, it's just kind of the way of the road. But he's late to the party when it comes to defending the bomb. Had to rotate all the way through heaven. Won't be a kill that he can find. And MMG, they can just keep on doing the same exact thing. It is working wonderful for them. Just if Knights are going to continue this sort of trend of playing really slow and not quickly executing onto the sites, this is exactly what I was expecting to see. You know, a very similar trend. Far, far from a done deal, though, I have to say. The attacking side is notoriously brutal on Ascent. Mid control, which a lot of people and a lot of teams kind of say is one of the more important parts of the map to get, has been nigh uncontestable for Pittsburgh Knights because of what you see going on between ScrewFace and DSR right here. Just the operator holding it down. Tags down DSR to only 37 points of health, so he can't realistically do anything. Ultimate orb grabbed over towards A, and a first frag actually found on the other side. That's XXiF with the entry towards B. And how do MMG respond to this one? Again, for the most part, they've been really trying to focus on taking this part of the map, you know, the mid-courtyard, and occasionally they've kept players towards this close box right here. They've tried even pushing for tiles control or just sitting by catwalk. That's no longer an option for somewhat obvious reasons, so they're going to go ahead and gamble towards A, since they realize that, hey, if they're fighting a bit more for mid, realistically, the best option for them would be towards A. Simple stuff like that. A solid read from MMG, a door, not quite calling a fake, but what information do they have to go ahead and believe that it's B? They've brought all their players over. Knights moving a little bit slow, don't even have to, because they know just this newfound amazing situation that they got. The site is completely deserted. Why in the world did MMG leave that? What information did they have that I am just not aware of? Did XXiF really pull that off with maybe a couple of smokes or something? He lurks now over towards mid, but by all means, by all intents and purposes, this should be the Pittsburgh Knights finding number 3. A weird mid-round call, MMG. But, you know, there's always a high potential that maybe there's something on the menu-map that I missed. Most definitely, I've been missing payen finding those 2 kills. That's a good start for MMG. Time is of the essence, though. Get all the kills you want. You actually need to go ahead and fight for the bomb itself. DSR forced to put away the Hunter's Fury will just completely obliterate. And what is that? Just a couple of seconds, really. And MMG begin and finish their retake. What in the world? A brutalizing pace dictated. Again, unfortunately, we're only able to follow so many POVs, but it seemed that MMG were able to take aggressive fights towards A main, and it wasn't really punished. Maybe that Hunter's Fury you can go ahead and blame for coming out a bit too late, but I think that's not exactly the right call and that sort of thing. DSR did the most he can to actually stop the plant, and just got contested by all of his teammates dying. A really strong retake through from MMG. Now up to 5 rounds. And the tag on through. Bad time for Knights to try to quicken up the pace here. They're running up towards catwalk, and already 3 kills have been gotten. 3 picks off. And a lot of hope for MMG to extend this over to 6. Not quite taking the majority of rounds, but definitely guaranteeing them a tied score. It's ZK against 5, and while he does find that first kill with the Sheriff almost free of charge, I suppose he does take a hit. And thank you. Yes, sorry for the solo casting. I know I'm going to mess up at some points, but this game is very tough to spectate, produce, and cast at the same time, so I appreciate your patience. I'm not nearly as patient as how the Knights have played. Can we be completely honest with that, though? They really have just completely grounded down to a halt at a number of pivotal moments, it feels like. And while I don't necessarily think it's bad, there's a lot of teams that do like playing those slower defaults. T1 in particular, I think, is the most notable. But, you know, otherwise,
Eyes up.
why? Okay, this chat won't disappear. There we go. Now we have it. But I mean, otherwise, I can't really think of many teams that grind out sites slowly like this. Again, I have to reiterate that this is still very early days for the Pittsburgh Knights. They could easily strike back, but MMG have shown me a lot of promise with the different ways that they're utilizing those CT setups, with how quickly they're adapting on these retakes to what they're pulling off right now. Unfortunately, payen, maybe right on cue, will go ahead and prove me wrong. Unfortunately, the right-handed view model is going to go ahead and do him a little bit dirty. And Pittsburgh Knights, once again, have a tough issue on their hands. There is a long flank happening towards B main. No one is present for the occasion, and so it really all falls on Frosty ZK as well as XXiF, excuse me, to hold down the line at the site itself. There's ZK with not one, but 2 kills. And there you have it. Pittsburgh Knights with another strong, confident round put themselves up to 3. It takes a Herculean effort, it feels like, from XXiF in particular. Frosty ZK also doing wonderful work. But I think the reason that was so important to me is because it speaks to everything that I've been praising MMG about. It speaks against it, I think, is probably a more important and better way to phrase it. You know, I have been praising a lot how MMG, just in the early days of Ascent, have been managing to hold down these retakes, have been, you know, even in incredibly disadvantageous situations, like on the A bomb site that we saw just a couple of rounds past. They honestly looked really, really confident.
Right here. Right here.
While it doesn't quite disappear, it definitely is a notable little indent on what has otherwise been a very incredible and impressive defensive end. But Pittsburgh Knights, the newly signed team, will have to go ahead and maybe find number 4. Taking a bit of a tactical pause, maybe to think about things, breathe, and let the round actually come to fruition by itself. I'm keeping an eye on the radar at the moment, though, and I think that's going to be somewhat interesting, again, because another thing that I mentioned is that MMG constantly try to shift their CT setup. Y-Hater says, anyone know how to do MMG payen's crosshair, like tic-tac-toe box? I actually know how to. So what you have to do is set your thickness to 10 and the length to 1, and there you have it. Make sure to turn off outlines, though. You know, I'm starting to believe that this is more than just a tactical pause. Maybe, maybe it was a technical? Who exactly knows? Either way, it's a nice little pace, nice little change of pace, I should say. Excuse me. And so with that, Knights maybe don't exactly have the same sort of momentum that they had after just closing out a round in such a clean fashion. My cat is meowing because she can't duocast with me, I suppose. And now, we once again see the MMG experiment. How do they decide to swap over to how Pittsburgh Knights have been handling this one? They've only lost a couple of rounds on the defensive side of things. It hasn't been necessarily an incredible or super show-stopping performance from either team. But it most definitely has been
I have the spike.
a solid performance from the Knights. Solid performance from MMG, I should say, excuse me. A couple of glimmers of hope, though, for Knights, I think is fair to say. One player in ScrewFace playing aggressive B main just to look for a single shot, excuse me, and then back off with the dash. Should find it right about here. 2 players watching the line. It's going to be incredibly important that he dashes out, and he does. He has done his part, and there is nothing more that ScrewFace realistically needs to do. If he were to die right here, his job has been done. They've taken out one of the big guns of Pittsburgh Knights. A resmoke over towards A main, because the most realistic hit for Pittsburgh Knights to do at this point is try to rush out A. Take the site as quick as he possibly can. Frosty ZK will be leading the charge in for his teammates' bomb, slowly walking its way up.
30 seconds left.
And a ton of players at the ready for MMG. The Oden is going to be the least of their problems. And there you have it. Zeck holding the line will provide that first kill. Harmon actually not getting anything done. It will actually be Chase holding down the line from under heaven. He's only going to be able to get one before he is also traded out. It's an absolute massacre over on the A bomb site. As you see now, the Oden spam once again comes to fruition. But it's not going to matter. He gets the job done with an operator. Picking it right back up, though, will be the Oden. And ScrewFace has been a monster for this entire game so far. Round number 10 is looking to go the way of MMG, as ScrewFace has absolutely just balls of steel to sit on the bomb for that long. There is no hesitation from MMG. ScrewFace, I wish we could have seen your POV for that, but it's even more promising and a little bit more beautiful to see it from the other side. My cat is now begging to go out the window. I need to let her out real quick. There we are. Have fun, Vivian. My cat's an idiot.
This is gonna be fun.
Well, round number 10 going the way of MMG allows them to take a lot of momentum as well as the official lead in the opening half of map number 1. Quite honestly, I think this matchup is a little bit 50-50. Although Pittsburgh Knights are a new roster and I've had some tough results, they have made it this deep for a reason. So I think they're well worth their time and well worth watching, which is why I chose this matchup. But I still, again, can't help but just look at how Pittsburgh Knights have been really constantly fine with just walking towards the site and then hoping that things work out, pan out in the long term. You saw ScrewFace being a sort of problem in the last round with that operator when they tried doing it towards B, and they shipped over towards A and then ran into an Odin. It leads to a lot of potential issues here. As once again MMG find the opening 2 frags, Harmon and ScrewFace being the bearers of bad news. Knights still continue strong. They've basically halted their execute, but they're still keeping people inside the site. DSR peeking through the smoke actually doesn't know.
Spike planted.
Oh my god! That's ridiculous! They sneak right behind! This is unbelievable. DSR has an absolute legendary position, but it's only going to be good for 2 kills, excuse me. Don, having me fumbling for words, will have to do something even more impressive than DSR, if that's even possible. But the first kill is through. The second one surely is not. But he's going to get it! That's unbelievable! He actually does do it! On to chase. DSR and Don, the 2 Ds, give the D over to MMG. And my god, that is GG right there. How many letters can I decide to spit out? I have no clue. All I can tell you right now is that is a huge W for Pittsburgh Knights. That's one of those cases where you don't know whether to scream or just watch. I was actually in this like such a state of suspense where I had no idea if that was actually going to amount to anything from DSR. Just sneaking behind each other. The timing could not be more fortunate. MMG going back to the more aggressive antics at mid, I think is pretty beautiful. Should go ahead and do the trick to at least take over mid. Yeah, sure. But A is a real problem. That has been where Pittsburgh Knights at least somewhat regularly have been able to exploit. That slow grind on in. And up until now, MMG haven't been able to find the opening kills. That is going to be now very quickly changing with a couple of frags coming on in. Dawn chasing for another one in towards grass, but it doesn't amount to anything. Weird round from MMG on this retake. Oh, wait a second. Hold the phone. This isn't done. Okay, never mind. It's done. It's done. I mean, that was kind of a strange turn of events again from MMG. We can only see so many POVs, but I was kind of staring at the radar for a majority of that round. What, again, it feels like is that what actually happened is MMG are just solid on their retakes. I mean, for real, like, the retakes are just built differently. They're comfortable in it. They know how to do it. And they're built different. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the chat right now. But I don't know. MMG look confident on retakes. Simple as that. What a weird round. I gotta say, it's really hard to solo cast. I'm glad you guys are liking that line about letters. Unfortunately, MMG have been kind of dictating the letter for most of this game. 8-4 will be our score line at half. Again, apologies for if there's occasional camera work errors. I'm running a completely solo show at the moment. But hey, if Tanner Metro can do it, who's to say I can't? I have plenty of experience with this, just kind of need to find my groove. Should come around map number 2. But for now, I'm hoping Knights just kind of find their groove. I was hoping that this would be an incredibly competitive match, and while it has been in a number of aspects, MMG have just kind of looked like the better team. Maybe it's just that 19 worked out a bit more, and that is certainly a way to do it. 3 kills as the kill feed fills with green, and Harmon just kind of doing some 360s in air will offer himself up. It's XXiF as well as the Frenzy user to find all the kills. Weird, again, round from Pittsburgh Knights, but that seems to be kind of the regularly scheduled programming, isn't it? This is what we have been seeing for most of the game. There's only so many times that I can say the phrase and the word, you know, this is weird, etc., before it really is just kind of how the game is supposed to be working out. MMG, that pistol not going to be going to their, or excuse me, landing on their side. We'll have to give another one up here as the lead diminishes just a little bit for the Pittsburgh Knights, or excuse me, for MMG rather.
Blocking sight.
They'll try to collapse and retake. Heavy presence in at mid. XXiF watches behind, but the smoke is not actually going to go ahead and do the job to find that first kill. That is a huge beginning for Mamba Mode Gaming. They actually extend it into his second DSR, knowing that he has to make a play, tries to find something, but try as you might, it's not going to work out. Mamba Mode Gaming have already anchored themselves into beautiful positions. I think maybe ScrewFace kind of popped his shot a little bit too early there and gave away is what otherwise would be a wonderful surprise. But Ronaldo still searching. His primary goal at this point has to be to even up this man disadvantage that has been found. But look at the full-on rotate. MMG don't even want to bother over towards A. They have players lurking. One, maybe a second if you want to go ahead and think about what ScrewFace was doing. But all in all, it's going to be a heavy B execute here. Sure, they only have pistols, and pistols really struggle in the later stages of rounds. But that might not even be a factor here. ScrewFace has made it even better. And MMG are responding perfectly. That's 3 kills now for ScrewFace. Ronaldo against 5 has it so basically everybody on the side of MMG is getting their just desserts. An absolutely absurd change of fate for MMG. Should go ahead and put them now on 6. Ronaldo, I think, realizes that a 1-on-5 is nigh impossible. Tries to back up with the Spectre. That second round actually going the way of MMG. Again, I'm lost for words. I'm sorry if I don't exactly feel into it at the moment. I'm having to moderate now at the same time. It's really kind of stretching myself thin. But again, I'll find my groove. Surely seems like, again, MMG certainly has. It's honestly absurd how they managed to get away with all those initial opening duels. And on top of that, ScrewFace, I think, had the advantage of positioning more than anything. Even if he only found 2 kills, he would have done his part. Even if he only found 1 kill, he would have definitely done his deed. But MMG can do even better. Surpassing expectations. He upset against the Spectres. Put themselves on double digits. In fact, this is a perfect recipe for double digits if you go ahead and take a look at the artillery diff between the two. Bit of contention over towards Grass. Could go ahead and do the Knights a little bit of good, but Ronaldo needs to go massive with a classic. That burst is going to have to do some heavy legwork, but unfortunately, it is not leg day for the Pittsburgh Knights. Plus, there's a flank out over towards B. Payen is watching. I mean, this is just brilliantly executed. Never mind, it's not brilliantly executed. Payen is really playing with fire at the moment from turning away from tiles there. But he should be hearing the footsteps as he comes in through. Frosty ZK, none the wiser to it, falls victim. And that is how you respond with an anti-eco round. Pittsburgh Knights possibly need to steal one out of the playbook of MMG, as this has overall been a very, very bad time for the newly signed Knight squad. The ex-Fortnite professional players having mixed results, I'd say. XXiF has definitely been the most impressive player on Knights, but it feels like there's not really hard fragging. There's not any quickened rounds. Pace changes, I think, would be huge, but for some reason, Knights nor MMG necessarily feel like changing up the playbook. But that's something I've continually brought up here. I don't want to sound like a broken record because everybody basically knows it at this point because of how many times I've said it. The change of pace will indeed actually come through, but it's by a drone and ScrewFace right behind it. This is beautiful. Absolutely so. Knights deal with it rather well, though, as they find the opening 2 frags. Opening 3 frags. Let's keep an eye on XXiF here. Although he's bleeding internally only on 22 points of health, he has found 2 kills and actually brought this right back into the Knights' favor. Again, his teammate, his duo in arms during the Fortnite World Cup will find yet another kill, inching his way back up from the bottom of the scoreboard. And you see payen. Now wondering how he can retrieve these pieces for Mamba mode gaming. I mean, he has a spike in his hands, doesn't he? I'm wondering, I mean, at what point are Pittsburgh Knights going to think to maybe rotate a couple of players over towards B? It seems that Ronaldo is having some thoughts about possibly doing it. Do they really think it's going to be B this entire time? They're flashing through A main. They're not spotting anything.
30 seconds left.
Now should be their cue. That should be a completely just blatant red flag that, hey, maybe he's not towards A. Maybe he's going to the other side of the map entirely. So, I mean, payen has been given a perfect slate. This is something he can work off of here. He can't believe his luck. He's dumbfounded. He's dumbstruck.
10 seconds left.
And he will get a free spike plant down. 1 on 4 still makes it so it's probably impossible for him to win this. But you have to believe, don't you? payen jumping inside of his lovely little cyber cage will unfortunately miss XXiF the first time around. The camera spots out the second, but Ronaldo is quick to trade out his ex-teammate, and I guess current teammate, ex-Fortnite teammate, current Valorant teammate. A little bit confusing when you word it like that, I suppose. But with that, Pittsburgh Knights will close it out with only double fatalities. Overall, a very strong hold. Maybe that's exactly why Mamba Mode Gaming have been kind of grinding out the latter parts of this round and have been, you know, more so focusing on their mid-round calls. Considering what you're seeing right there, I mean, it just kind of shows that Knights can definitely hit their starts, or excuse me, hit their shots, and these are really good starts that Knights can go ahead and work off of. It looks like it's going to be a bit of a, I'm not sure, does this count as tactical or technical? A biological break. Looks like ScrewFace apparently has the bladder the size of a walnut, according to Harmon. The lovely 6'8" Chad football player. Legendary player in general. I mean, I think all things considered, though, this is a totally fine change of pace. MMG can use this tactical pause really to halt the momentum that maybe Knights have just found. And that's really the thing, isn't it? Being able to win that mental game. Right on cue, pause will end, and we find ourselves in number 17. The scoreline's still looking pretty decent for Mamba Mode Gaming, but they need to up the ante and they need to continue to fight to try to take map number 1 here. This is a best of 3 series. It's not going to be a best of 1 like so many other tournaments, like the unfortunate situation that is going on in Europe right now. Best of 1. We have many more chances to keep this one competitive. And we've seen a number of reverse sweeps close on the blink of elimination. Teams have been able to surprise us. All in all, Knights remain strong. MMG, I would say remains stronger, but it doesn't seem to be the case for this round. Ronaldo, great crosshair placement, does find that first kill. That sort of thing is huge. Early play on in is exactly what the doctor ordered. Knights, unfortunately, right on cue, give up their second. Find ourselves back onto even slate. But thing is, I really can't exactly find myself feeling too optimistic. Knights, for some reason, really feel like they need to go ahead and try to push this advantage into something a little bit more. But as they do it, they give up the advantage and actually just go ahead and swap it over to the other team entirely. Really rough situation now. Because the thing is, you know, if you want to talk theory on TAC FPS, a lot of time in CS, my background, the game I come from, if you're down a player, a lot of the times you need to extend to try to find a kill to make it into a more even man situation. Obviously, it's a little bit of a different scenario considering that this is Valorant, this isn't Counter-Strike, but still the point still stands. Knights right on cue will actually allow ZXiF to find 2 kills. There it is. Right back into the favor of the Pittsburgh Knights. Another slow round, but MMG at least get the spike down, so they have that consolation prize, even if they lose it out from here. Oh my god, let's just keep the camera on ZXiF. Unfortunately, that's 3 kills off camera because NA caster, NA observer, lol W, but ZXiF has definitely been impressive on this retake. Completely blinded by his own teammate, should be able to find number 4, or at the very least teabag the body. 19 for the Jett player. And once again, Pittsburgh Knights respond with a round. 10-7. They claw their way back into this game. Not that I was ever particularly looking lost, but it's definitely looking a little bit dicey at some points. I appreciate the support that some of you guys have. Again, I know it's not a perfect production, but come game 2, it might have someone to bounce off of. Not 100% certain, but at least for this BO3, you're only stuck with me. So anyway, back to the game at hand. This isn't about me. This is about the players, and this is about how MMG are honestly struggling to do a lot against Knights now that they've gotten rifles into their hands. There was that really good response on the anti-eco, the second round force-up, I should say. And they did get the follow-up round because of that, but MMG now need to try to break new ground and make something more out of this. And again, Caster's Curse comes to fruition right there. ScrewFace does find the opening kill. You know what? I just have to keep it on ScrewFace and XXiF, respectively. They are the ones fragging out hardest for their individual teams. It's massive work. Some exploratory measures taken by Frosty ZK. Doesn't spot anything but a lone camera sitting over at B main, but he shifts his focus over towards mid and does actually find a player. Now we'll go ahead and cause a rotation to come through from his teammate. Now lurking over towards CT, will be peeking out and finding the kill. Good response from Knights. They're adjusting their setup slowly but surely, and this is exactly what they have to do, especially since they're on the back foot when it comes to rounds. Momentum most definitely in their favor. They have the wind behind their sails, and they can maybe soar to new heights with it. It's definitely been a rough start, but they are finding their groove, and they are feeling a lot more comfortable. XXiF now once again has it all to do here. 3 smokes, Vandal, and a lot of eyes on him. Watch for the inevitable follow to come in. Look for this to happen right on cue with Ronaldo tossing in his Rolling Thunder, excuse me. ZK tosses out the run it back, but doesn't find anything. It's going to be XXiF once again to appear in the kill feed more than anybody else in the Pittsburgh Knights. A 2-on-4 Hunter's Fury, probably not even going to be used. They have to realize that this is a round that is so hard for them to win, but they're still going to try Mamba Mode Gaming. They get so many kills for their trouble, but XXiF has done them one bit better. 3 kills now, and the bomb actually still goes up because time was just so low. MMG, it's another incredibly scrappy round, but chalk it up once more to it being so slow, snail-paced, so slow and snail-paced. That is a very hard phrase to say. I do not recommend saying it 5 times fast. But again, I don't want to sound like a broken record. Maybe it's just kind of confirmation bias, but every time that I'm kind of imagining it, it seems to become reality. That retake wasn't even necessarily bad. MMG just did great work at staving things off with their last 2 remaining players. XXiF, however, will try to fight back and brings out the knives once more. Same story for ScrewFace, however, he hasn't been able to find that Chad tier entry kill. Smoke on through, entry on in. Ronaldo opens up the B-bomb site alongside his teammate, or closes down the B-bomb site rather. In a beautiful situation now. Nice. While they don't seem to be able to go on large streaks like what happened in the first half for Mamba Mode Gaming, they are fighting back rather well. It takes some individual efforts, but solid positions are most definitely doing their job. A 2-on-4 to be overcome by Mamba Mode. Wondering what's going to make the dam break here. I want to keep my eye on XXiF here, though, for obvious reasons. He's now just about hit the 20 bomb. I know that there's another player waiting, and unfortunately, Caster's Curse doesn't actually go ahead.
30 seconds left. Spike planted.
A weird 2v2. But again, weird is just kind of how this game has been going at this point. You have to consider it the new normal. Pittsburgh Knights. Again, they just look to see if anything is going to be given to them for free. Ronaldo has those flashes available, and I want to see him expend those. Those could be absolutely massive. He tosses one over Hell, has absolutely no clue that maybe they're both hiding over towards Generator. That paranoia will do the job, but now MMG know exactly where all the remaining players are who are trying to compromise and push their positions. And when Knights move, they move so quickly.
Shut up and let me work.
Blistering pace adopted by the Pittsburgh Knights. We'll find them round number 8. It takes a while to actually get to that point, but when they take over Generator, they know how to hit their shots. Beautiful round from Ronaldo in particular. Did his job wonderfully. I also want to mention, though, I think that it's really interesting that Pittsburgh Knights are not choosing to run any Sentinel. It's something I've kind of neglected to mention, but a lot of times you see, you know, Killjoy, a lot of times a Cypher. But really nothing like that. Mamba mode gaming, while they will stick with a more traditional comp and still, I suppose, have the lead, I don't think you can chalk it up to being a comp difference or anything. Right now, it's shots like that that really make all the difference, and Chase shows us exactly why. Great opening kill, once again, leads to another beautiful start for Mamba mode gaming. But this back and forth action is something that really cannot be stable in the long term. Knights are fighting back, and DSR kind of accidentally ScrewFace. That is ridiculous. Not something to blow your lungs out about. We'll save that hype for a bit later. I haven't seen anything that has completely blown my mind all too much yet. However, that could easily change come mid-round. We have crossed the minute mark, and kind of spreading their wings across the map will be Mamba mode gaming. Seem to have an emphasis over towards B. Notice that the Sova is lurking towards A. This could be huge. I want to keep my eye on Harmon. This next kill probably decides everything. If XXiF finds it, well, probably the round is over, but you know, if Harmon finds it over towards A, you could see a complete shift of focus over towards the A bomb site. They managed to bring a rotate over. You see that Sova is doubling back over
30
towards B,
seconds left.
leaving only ZK to hold down B. So either he needs to go massive, or MMG have a real good chance. Oh, looks like it's going to be none of the above. It's going to be Knights running away with this one, but not even off the back of ZK. That kill eventually does happen over towards Tree. What is going on? ZK? Does that position actually work for both kills? Absurdity. Sheer and utter absurdity. Wow. I mean, that round basically belonged to the Pittsburgh Knights anyway because of how they played that mid stages, but my lord, they made it look a little bit beautiful while at it.
Hey. Hey.
11-9. Fighting back tooth and nail will be the Pittsburgh Knights, but not quite done yet.
Careful now.
A tremor in to try to work for some early B control. Otherwise, though, MMG are going to be trying to shift their focus over towards taking mid early. This is that change of pace that I was mentioning that I'd want to see. But XXiF, I think, has a beautiful kind of drool-worthy spot. A potential frag clip in the making right here. There's that first kill. The second one, well, offers itself up, but doesn't amount to anything. It could have been really cool, though. Can you just use your imagination? You would have posted that onto Twitter with like a very minimalist caption saying, like, did this today in the Pittsburgh Knights qualifier. He's one of the few to get overwhelmed for the Knights. Actually, the only fatality found. That was a clean anti-eco. Again, nothing to get all too excited about. I think now is where we can get a bit more excited, though. XXiF leading the charge at 25 kills has been an absolute monster. And so, of course, as you might imagine, I'm going to keep my eye on them. But what's the move here? Mamba mode, I feel like I've just been smashing their head against a brick wall, if nothing else. There's a spray mid again. Good start. This was a winning recipe for Chase, at least at the beginning of last round. The mid rounds have mostly been dominated by the newly signed Pittsburgh Knights squad. Getting a little bit scary will be the side of the Knights. See that drone come through. XXiF leads the charge once again. Maybe not leads the charge, but holds the line for sure. Doing his best impression of Hodor. Will unfortunately fall the way of Hodor. Is that kind of spoilers? I'm not really sure. MMG shift. They realize that maybe the B bomb site isn't going to be the most friendly location for them. Again, we see a slow pace dictated. But now that Chase has been spotted, does this maybe prompt his teammates to move a little bit quicker? There's a smoke in, so now Chase won't have to worry about that angle coming through. But still, trying to keep those rotates there. You understand that the Pittsburgh Knights
30
don't
seconds
believe
left.
in this at all. They realize that there is a very large opportunity of the fact that this could easily be burst over towards the opposite site. Chase, basically, if he gets a kill here, he has done more than what his job description provides. But now that he can't, it's about time for MMG to move. They are taking
10
their
seconds
sweet
left.
time to actually do anything, though. And that kind of pace is going to go ahead and be a real killer for them. Recon Dart goes out, so they know exactly where to spam. At least they get that spike planted. Zeck from here on out will now have to anchor and hope that he doesn't get caught for free. Payen does have that neural theft. Nothing can be stolen away, that's for certain. 2 on 4 now. Unfortunately, the Omen using his ultimate just uses it to try to teleport to a more shallow grave. And now it will be Harmon against 3. Doesn't quite have that Hunter's Fury, so he can't use it to defend the bomb. Just spam wildly and hope that it works. But ZK is still on the bomb. He's still sticking on it. And try as you might, Pittsburgh Knights still run away with a round. Oy, that is rough times for MMG. Again, it just feels like Pittsburgh Knights haven't even been necessarily doing anything all too crazy. You know, them sticking the defuse while in the smoke right there, even though your teammate just died in front of your eyes. You have to have, again, some massive cojones to be able to do something like that. And what's even more worrying is that Pittsburgh Knights have so many amazing ultimates that they can expend right off the bat that this should be their round, just based off of that reason alone. Now, finally, MMG maybe have listened to my Pepega tier advice. ZK, we'll get to what you just did later, but I did not miss that. I guarantee you that. XXiF holding the knives towards the back of sight. A flashbang on through. And XXiF once again appearing in the kill feed. 2 more kills. Don with a 3rd one. And Ronaldo holding the back of sight will make it 12 for the Pittsburgh Knights. Beautiful, solid hold over towards B.
Match
and
point.
Now, Pittsburgh Knights, they've successfully completed the comeback. A couple of whiffs, that's for sure. Okay, let's go back to what Frosty ZK did. That was the Pepega tier ultimate, okay? I saw that. I know that you used run it back literally right in the fire of a bunch of people, so you died immediately and then died twice. It's funny as hell, but, you know, it was not the important thing on hand. But, yo, Frosty, I'm sorry. We saw that, homie. We saw that.
Careful now.
And with that, XXiF and his friends have now officially brought it to 12. On the verge of stealing map number 2. Or map number 1, excuse me. And heading on to map number 2, I should say.
One enemy remaining.
Okay. No, we're no longer on the verge. We're there. Welcome to map number 2. Jesus. It is really hard to cast and observe at the same time. I have learned that the hard way. And my God, XXiF has just knocked a lesson into Mamba mode gaming. 31 kills for him in regulation. Has plenty of chances to do it, considering this one goes the distance of whole 25 rounds. But an absolutely beautiful showing from the Jett player. And XXiF, not only is he good at Fortnite, he's more than that one-trick kind of pony.